The success of our society proves that our system works, but maybe we forgot to teach our young folks that wealth is achieved by helping people to get what they want. So, if no one has yet taught you how the game is played in the big leagues, well, guess what? Now, it's your turn. There's a billionaire locked inside you. The key to freedom is information. The kind of information you find here on the Money Man Report. Now, here's today's host. Here's the Money Man. Here's Dan Frischberg.
Well, welcome back. This is the Money Man Report. Thank you very much for joining me. And once again, as usual, it's my pleasure to introduce you to the beautiful Elisea.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Daniel?
Welcome to me. Thank you. Yes.
I have Jack asking these questions.
Okay.
He invested $90,000 over the years from 1 to 10 years in the New York 529K plan system.
Okay, so why don't you explain to people, a lot of people know what that is, but explain what is a 529 plan.
It's a savings for your kid who you're planning to go to college, and instead of you coming up with money when they are graduating from high school, over the years you put money into this savings plan.
So it's kind of like an IRA for college tuition.
That's correct.
College expenses.
That's correct.
Okay.
And so he's kind of extremely worried because he went through a high inflation time in 1980, and every time he turns around and asks young kids younger than him, they said, "Oh, let it just go and let it ride. It will go up again." And
Yeah,
he
and
said,
I'm sure that's what his broker is telling him and his financial advisor. Quote,
he's
right?
extremely uncomfortable because he knows that's the opposite of what's going on right now.
Right.
So
he told you what was in it, and you told him, "I don't think that's the right thing," and so he told you what are the things that are in his plan, right?
that's correct.
Okay, so one of them is what do they call it? Safe
Growth.
Safe growth. Yes.
It's basically it's a return, he's saying, for safety, liquidity, and safe growth.
Right. And so the fact is, we look it up, and the safe growth is he's down 17% right now for the year.
He's upside down, actually.
Oh, upside down, yes. Yeah, and so the point is that that's what brokers do. They tell you, don't worry, it's going to be okay. But he just spent his whole life to save 90 grand. And $17,000 means he's now got 70-something thousand. So he's going to have to make like 30% to get it back. And it's bad advice. It's not what anybody that really has money or knows what they're doing does with their money. And by the way, the firm that his broker works for doesn't do that with their money either. They don't sit around knowing that the stock market is crashing and say, "I think it might be okay." They find something good to do with it. And they're certainly not sitting in conservative growth fund. There's no such thing as a growth stock fund that is conservative when the market's crashing and the Fed is telling you we're going to keep doing it and making it go lower. Being in there is not conservative.
It is organized for an up market and falling interest rate. That's exactly the opposite of what's going on.
And then he's got what? High quality. They must be a bond component, right?
As equity value growth, it's like a loaded. They sold him a loaded funds, and he's saying that he is extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah. So the bottom line is that in any of these plans, whether it is a plan for teachers or whether, no matter what it is, the 529 plan, medical savings plans, these people sell them as packages, and the plan is a good idea, but then they load them up with funds that they're selling you. The bottom line is you can have one of those plans and it can be set up to put whatever you want in it. It's self-directed. And that means you can invest in stocks, or you can invest in nothing, or you can invest in the money market for a little while, or for a 2-year treasury for a little while when it's making 4%. And then very soon, you can buy really good stocks that are going to go up. You do a little bit of research and do what your broker's company that he works for does with their money. What you don't do is sit passively and think, I think it's going to be okay. Right?
It is set up for a high quality bond fund for safe income.
Again, a high quality bond fund still loses money when interest rates go up. The quality isn't the point. I'm not saying it's not high quality. Companies with good credit worthiness.
Let's explain. It's too complicated for
Okay.
people. What is a bond
A
fund?
bond means you're lending the company money. The company issues bonds, which is basically an IOU. And of course, a high quality one means that it's there are rating agencies, and they're rating the companies who are making these loans, who are borrowing the money, they're rating them high. They have very good credit worthiness. But our problem is not that the company who issued the bonds won't pay the money back. That's not the problem. The problem is when interest rates rise, bond prices go down. And it's pretty easy to understand why that is. A lot of people can't fit, why would that be? Look, think of it as a rental property. Because when the bond was issued, maybe the interest rate in the world was 3%. Now, if the interest rate in the world is 4.5% or 5%, that means that bond's not so attractive anymore, right? So imagine there's a rental property, or a guy's renting his house next door to you. And all the houses are $400,000 houses, and they're all renting for $2,000 a month, let's say, right? Now, here we go. Now, you locked yours in for 5 or 10 years. Everybody else has 1 year at a time lease. But you thought you were being clever. So you locked your rent in for 5 or 10 years. And you think, oh, boy, I got the guy now. I'm locked in. But now, here we are a year or two later. And because of inflation, the rents went up, just like the interest rates on the bonds go up. The rents went up, and now your guy is paying $2,000 a month, but all the other houses, they're paying $5,000 a month. And you're stuck with this guy. You can't get rid of him. So everybody else is collecting 5, and your guy is paying 2. Now imagine that you want to sell your house. And the guy says, I love your house. I'd love to buy it. How much you want? You say $550. It's terrific. He says, I love it. And you say, but there's only one thing I got to tell you. There's a renter in there, and he's going to be in there for another 4 years, and he's paying $2,000. And the buyer says, yeah, but everybody else's rent is $4,000.
$5,000.
$5,000. And you have to say, yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm stuck in a long deal with him. And so the guy says, that house is not worth $500,000 with that guy in there. The house is only worth $300,000. So you see what happened? The house value went down because the rents in the neighborhood all went up except yours. And that's what's happening with those corporate bonds. We're not worried about whether the company that borrowed the money pays it back. I'm sure they will. That's what high quality means. The problem is you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, because the interest rates on everybody else's deals that they're issuing today are higher, and you're locked in stuck with a guy at a lower interest rate. So the higher the interest rate goes, the more your bond is going to be worth less money. Why didn't the guy tell you this that sold it to you? Because he doesn't know. I doubt if he's trying to screw you. I believe he just doesn't really know what he's doing. He sold a product. It's called safe, so he thought it was safe. He said, I want safe stuff, and so he gave you the safe one, right? So that's what happened to you. And we better stop for a little break, and we're going to be right back with you. This is the Money Man Report, where we tell you the truth, and we're not here to sell you insurance. How about that? We'll be right back.